What's up, mi gente? It's the radioactive Bobby Danny Limelight, multiple-time champion, award-winning filmmaker and actor. You're listening to the CCP podcast. Subscribe, follow, do all that, and make sure you guys catch all new episodes whenever they drop.
What is happening, friends of CCP Podcasting? Welcome to a Beyond the Bell Live. I am Chris Page. That is Todrick Tabar Ramsey. Mr. Ramsey, how are you this evening, sir?
I'm doing well. I will be happy when all this severe weather leaves the Fort Benning, Georgia area and I can get back to life as usual. But I'll take it over smeltering hot any day. But all that said, I'm happy to be here tonight because I'm very excited to talk to our guest and share all of this with everybody that's watching along with us.
Absolutely. You're battling severe weather, man. I'm battling fucking heat, dude. It was 98 degrees here today. I'm in the swamp, and let me tell you, not a pretty picture at all. It was a rough day, but it's going to be a fantastic evening. Before we get started, guys, I do want to direct your attention to the screen if I could. We lost a good brother. Logan Creed passed away 3 weeks ago. Passed away of cancer. It's a pretty big thing for me and for us on our channel here. Was a friend of Beyond the Bell alumnus, Rika Wildley, if I'm not mistaken. There's a GoFundMe. Ultimately, let me just get to the bottom line. The Randall family needs your help. He left behind a wife and 5 lovely children. There's a GoFundMe in place. The Randall's Families Fight Against Cancer is where you can find it over on GoFundMe, or you can look down if you're watching on YouTube in the links below. It will be present. I strongly encourage you guys, if you can donate, go out and make that happen. No donation is too small. Here at CCP Podcasting, we're donating our channel funds from last month and this month. So that will include our Twitch funds, our merchandise funds, etc., etc. And we will be making our donation on the 15th of next month. If you elect to subscribe to our channel, please do not this month and take the link and go over and give it to the Randall family. Why? Very simple. Twitch takes 50%. Why give 50% of something when you can give 100? So I encourage you, head on over to GoFundMe, the Randall Families Fight Against Cancer, make that donation, and fucking tell me you did it, and we're gonna work something out for you on the channel. Toddy, I know that's not the best of lights, but it's the best that we can do with what we've got, and hopefully we can rally the troops and get some money raised for the Randalls.
Absolutely.
Let's shift gears. Get into why we are here tonight. I am super excited for this one. I've been following this guy's career for on and off for about the last year and a half, give or take, and have really, really honed in on him over the last 8 or 9 months. I think the world of what he's doing in the ring, and when he jumped in and said that he would be happy to come on and do this live, I said, yes, please. Without any further ado, this man is known as True Grit. He is born and raised in the Carolinas. You may know him as the Ring Wars Heavyweight Champion, Ring Wars Carolina Heavyweight Champion, or better yet, you may know him as the Light Skin Legend. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to Beyond the Bell Live, Mr. Alex Bryant. How are you, sir? Thank you for joining us tonight.
Oh man, the first time I ever heard that light skin legend tagline, I was in high school, ironically, and it died off, and I hadn't thought about it for years. And then some guys said it 6, 8 months ago, and it's just kind of stuck, man. But I just want to say, first and foremost, man, I love you guys' platform. I've seen some clips. I know some people you've had on. So when I saw the post and it was like, hey, would you be interested in doing this? I was like, hell yes, I would. I think that shit would be dope. So thank you guys for having me on, man. I really appreciate it.
Well, hopefully it's the first of many appearances that we can get you on when the time is available. I am really looking forward to having this conversation with you, and I know that Toddy is as well. Toddy, please welcome our guest, Mr. True Grit.
We are so glad to have you on with us this evening. It was very refreshing I think you were the first person that responded to that post on Instagram, and you have no idea what that means to us. To have someone that has your accolades and your achievements and has accomplished the things that you've accomplished say that you want to be on here was a real treat for us and for our viewers. So we appreciate you and welcome to the show.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. As soon as I saw it, I jump at the chance for stuff like that because networking, getting to know people, getting your face recognition, that's where I see it. And when I see a good platform, of course, I'm going to be the guy that's like, hey, me, pick me. You know what I mean? Like, I'll come on and do it. So, yeah, again, I appreciate that. I appreciate the kind words. And thank you guys again for having me on. I'm really looking forward to this for sure.
Hey, let's dive in, man. I like to start before the beginning, is how I like to refer
Okay.
to it as. And when everybody gets bit by a wrestling bug, or everybody falls in love with professional wrestling before we dive in and lace our first pair of boots. What's your
Yeah.
moment? Where does professional wrestling and Alex Bryant, where's that intersection come in your life?
Honestly, man, the late 90s, as far back as I can actually remember, it was the late 90s. I want to think around the time of WrestleMania 14. Now, if you ask my mom or my grandparents, they'll tell you that I've pretty much watched wrestling my whole life, and which doesn't shock me because my family does, and I have family in the business. So, that didn't strike me as odd. But as far back as I can actually remember was my dad had a VHS tape of WrestleMania 14, and I remember watching Austin and Shawn Michaels in the main event, but the person that really like hook, line, and sinkered me was probably 97 to 98 Rock when he was in the Nation, and then he was Corporate Rock. Like, that's kind of where it was like hook, line, and sinker for me. So, yeah, the late 90s, man, it's been a minute since I've been invested in this thing.
Hey, man, that was the late 90s. 99 is when I laced my first pair, brother. So you're right at I was 17 at the time, dude. So it was. I don't know. I
Yeah.
think back on it now. I always tell people I'm that get off my lawn guy, as I'm so fucking old now that it's just like I can't. But back in my day, we used to. Blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. The Rock was always a good one to come in on too, and really when I ask that question because it gives me a frame of mind when it comes to whoever we're talking to, because everybody falls in love with wrestling at a different point in time. Mine was the '80s. I was an NWA guy, so I was Flair and the Andersons all day every day, watching with my grandmother who's fucking 90 at the time, screaming about Sting getting beat up by the Horseman, or
Yeah.
Dusty getting beat up by the Horseman. Uh,
Yeah.
when you kind of got bit by that bug, man, how does that coming up in the Carolinas, right, Myrtle Beach area? Uh, what's the scene look like down there as far as trying to get into the business and I guess at what point did you want to make that pivot from watching to I want to give this a shot? I want to try and find a facility to get to. What's that look like for you?
So honestly, man, like I had mentioned before, I have family in the business. I have a cousin who's been kind of in and out of the indie circuit for the better part of probably 25 years now, I would say. And I had always heard him talk about it, but I didn't really know, was it something I wanted to do? Like, I had fallen in love with playing football and hanging out with my buddies, and baseball and things like that. Normal, kid stuff. And I grew up in the country. My hometown's about 45 minutes inland from Myrtle Beach, so we vacation there and stuff like that. And from what I've been told, I didn't experience this personally. There used to be a couple different wrestling schools around the area, but they always kind of faded out. Pro wrestling around the Myrtle Beach area is starting to come back a little bit now over the past maybe 3 to 4 years. But prior to that, like it just didn't really exist around there to my knowledge, and nobody ever really talked about it. And I had gotten involved into acting and modeling. I had signed a 1 year contract. I had flew out to Texas. I had met with representatives from wherever. And then, bam, COVID hits. Everything's like, shut the fuck down. Nobody's moving. Nobody's doing shit. So, dude, I was honestly sitting at home on my ass, not doing shit, rewatching some old wrestling stuff because that's what I would do in my free time. And, I thought about it and I was like, damn. I was like, my cousin used to mention this shit to me all the time. Like, I need to call him and see if he still has connects in the business. So literally, dude, like spur of the moment on like a Thursday, I called him up and I was like, what's going on? What's up with this wrestling shit? Like, I want to do it. And ironically, he had a show that Saturday that he was coming up from Florida because he lives in the West Palm area. He was coming up to North Carolina to work an indie show, and he said, "I'll tell you what, I know we talked about this when you were younger, and then we didn't talk about it for years. Come watch the show, meet the guys, see how you feel with the environment, things like that, and then, we'll go from there." And literally, when I walked in that arena that night, that was the first time I had ever in my life been to an indie show. Like, I knew the indies existed, but I didn't know what it was. So I walked in, I had a chance to meet the guys, watch them set up the ring, see the fans start pouring in. I'm watching guys backstage and they're talking, interacting, and I'm like, holy shit, this is like a lot to take in. And I just loved it. And I literally started training the next day. So that's kind of how my path started.
Not even 24 hours. Yes, let's go.
Legitimately, yeah, less than 24 hours later, yeah.
Let's fucking go. That's so wild to me because I mean, just talk about it now. COVID was in 19 and 2020. So really, it's 4 or 5 years ago. It's not that. It seems like forever ago, but it's really just yesterday in reality.
Literally.
Which makes your ascension thus far on the scene that much more impressive to me. We'll get to some of that here in just a minute. Toddy, let me come around to you.
So you said that it was just after COVID. So I'm curious, with it not being in the area, were there a lot of people interested in training around the same time that you were?
I am, like, from my hometown, I'm the only guy that's active on a wrestling circuit. As far as Myrtle Beach, I think there's like, and my numbers, I'm not saying they're 100% accurate, but I think there's like maybe 15 total people from Myrtle Beach that actually do wrestling or whatever. And we cross paths from time to time, but like I didn't see any type of growth in it, but I really wasn't paying any attention because I didn't even know those other guys existed. Like, I just happened to start training at this school. And I mean, I was traveling 2 hours one way to train every Sunday and then driving back. And then that's just kind of what I was doing because I had to train just below Fayetteville in the Hope Mills area, but I still lived in South Carolina. So it was like 2 hours, 25 minutes from my house to the training center. And I think that there were some people that tried to get involved, but like I was going hardcore for 3 months and then the COVID regulations really started getting bad. So they shut down the gym where we trained. I couldn't go to my personal gym at home and work out. I'm doing home workouts, and I saw some guys kind of filter in and out, but as far as a tremendous amount of growth, I didn't see it personally. No.
When you first started training, obviously, before COVID, before everything got shut the fuck down on you, I'm very interested because with me, I'll give you my answer. It's footwork because it took forever for me to get that.
Yeah.
What were some of the things that you struggled with to as far as being in ring? Did you have any struggles when you were getting through training, and how did you overcome them?
Oh, of course, man. I mean, I think that, if you talk to anybody that really takes this serious, you get to a certain level of competence about it where you understand it a lot more, but there's always those nerves, those pre-match jitters, things like that. And then, like, we all have a lapse in judgment for things that we may have said we were going to do or wanted to do and we didn't get there. I don't think that ever disappears as long as you're someone that actually, like, takes the shit serious.
Right.
For me, I was an amateur wrestler for 6 years. So, I had to not be down in a wrestler stance. I had to learn how to reach out and grab people and not be trying to give them a double leg and things like I had to separate that line of amateur wrestling from professional wrestling. And like, honestly, I almost quit my first week. Like the first couple bumps I took, I was like, who the fuck does this for fun? And why did I think this was a good idea? But I caught on to the bumps very quickly. I caught on to running the ropes very quickly because I was never like a fucking Olympic gold medalist athlete, but I was, blessed and born with natural athletic ability. So my coaches, Nightstick Eddie Brown and Caribbean Tiger, they just helped me like hone in on what skills I already had, elevate those, and then start sprinkling wrestling in. And that's kind of how it went. But I mean, I still have times where I may misstep when I take off to the ropes or, I'm getting ahead of myself in my mind. And I guess maybe slowing myself down was something that I kind of struggled with a little bit, but I'm definitely getting better. And I think that just comes with time and traveling the circuit and continuing to train, watching videos, and listening to people talk about their training and comparing it to yours. And you're like, oh shit, what he said makes sense. I'm going to apply that moving forward. So.
Toddy, go ahead.
So, as you said, you were naturally gifted with that athleticism. Now
Yeah.
you found your footing. During those training days, what was some of your favorite things to do? We talked about what you had trouble with, but what were some of the things that just clicked right away?
I mean, honestly, I would say that, I got, like I had mentioned before, I got running the ropes down very quickly because they taught us how to do it in different steps. Like everybody had to start with 4, then we had to work to 3. And then once you got to a certain level, they would let you attempt to do it in 2. But if your footwork was wrong, they would make you go back to 3. So I enjoyed that because it was challenging. And then I would say, honestly, learning certain submissions, like I don't have a lot of submissions in my repertoire, but actually learning how to apply them. And then learning how to do chain, wrestling kind of took me back to my amateur background a little bit. So I could relate to it and I enjoyed that a lot. And then honestly, just seeing the meshing personalities of different people from different backgrounds and different cultures and you name it across the board. It was like it's a melting pot, and seeing those people be able to come together and create something I just thought was beautiful. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
As you're getting prepared and you're going through this journey, man, like, I want to take you back to your debut and what was the emotional state that you were going through? You've worked so hard to get to this point. COVID tried to fucking stop you, like it stops everybody. We get through this rigorous training. And for those who think that, first of all, that this is ballet, you're fucking mistaken.
Ooh, preach.
It's rough. It's rough. I don't want to. I tell this story all the time. Day 2 of training, we started running ropes, and by the end of day 2, I went home with so many welts on my back that like I couldn't even pick up my niece, who was 2 or
Yep.
3 at the time, in a swimming pool, by the way. I
Yep.
couldn't pick her up. Like it was so different back then versus like now, because internet, you didn't have it, so you couldn't really look up, Google shit. You had to really
Right.
go to fucking shows and say, hey, who can I talk to? And then you either get good advice or bad advice. And I could tell you, I went to 4 or 5 different people before I finally found someone who was willing to train and go through that. And I remember when I had the debut, what was going through my head, and how nervous I was. So I'm just kind of curious, did you have any jitters or did you have any, uh, you know, any kind of nerves or anything that you had to shake off, or was it just one of those things as soon as you walk through that curtain? Because with some guys, man, as soon as they walk out, man, it's showtime.
Yeah.
Was you that guy? Because I figured with your amateur background, you're used to being in front of people. You're used to people coming
Yeah.
up and watching you do this. So that's nothing different.
So my debut, quote unquote, was a little different than a lot of people's. Like, you know, the wrestling academy that I trained at, you were taught how to do everything, right? Like ring setup crew, sound guy, security, ring announcer, commentary. Like we had to go through all of that, so I worked security for a while. So I got a chance to be out there and then watch the crowd. You know what I mean? Then I was the ring announcer. And so I got a chance to be in front of the fans in the ring by myself, microphone. It's just me and it's them, and I'm trying to get a reaction and project my voice the right way, And so when I made my official roster debut, what it was come later, but when I actually stepped in the first time for active competition, I was still the ring announcer. And I was announcing the entrance for a Royal Rumble style match that we have called Golden Opportunity. So I can't remember I want to think I was like number 14 or 15 or something. So I'm standing by the stage and I'm announcing everybody that comes out, and I'm like an entry number, whatever is, and I did like they wanted me to do like a pause, and I said is me. So like then I took my jacket off. I get in the ring. I ran a little spot. I'm in there for like a minute and a half. Boom! I get dumped over. That's it. I come back around. I'm the announcer again. So that was like my debut, but I didn't officially debut on the roster until later. And I would say honestly, man, I was nervous. Like I love it and I take it serious. And of course, like in my mind, I was like, I need to perform at a high level, but I wasn't mentally or physically prepared for that because I was only so far into my training and I had never traveled anywhere else. I had never been in front of a crowd doing it, and it has the similarities of like playing a football game on a Friday night because you have the fans or whatever. Same thing with wrestling when you walk out and you wrestling in front of, two, three, four, 500 people, whatever. But I wasn't sure how they would respond. I mean, these people have seen me be the security guard. They've seen me be the ring announcer. They've watched me tear down the ring or do commentary. They've never seen, like, they have no idea. The crazy part is I didn't even have my name at the time. I went in as my shoot name. You know what I mean? And had my little spot, boom, bam. Some people liked it. They gave me a chance to hit like one or two moves, which was great. People kind of popped off of it. And then that was it, man. And then I was back into the announcer for like another 4 or 5 months. So,
Bro, you should have just stayed with "It's me." That should have been your debut name. It's me, and that's it. That's it. You're
yeah.
done. That's the finished product. Which it begs to question because again, the thing about this, we're organic, so I just kind of bounce, and ADD and ADHD kind of kicks in. You said something right there that struck me, and that was you didn't have a name. So I'm curious to see how did you create Alex Bryant and what aspects, because you've been the Playboy, True Grit, light skin legend. You've got all the monikers that have come along with it. The trial and error of fine tuning who you are now versus then. What is that? What's that process to you?
Yeah, so I mean, man, when I came in, they tell you like once you get to a certain point in your training, like you're going to be active, you're going to be on the shows. We need a name, we need a gimmick. What kind of style? Who are you going to model yourself after? I mean, all the shit that they say at every fucking training school ever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want to use my shoot name because I just don't feel like my shoot name is that marketable. And so I'm thinking and I'm bouncing some stuff around. And my cousin, who I had mentioned before, was in the business. He used to do a lot of stuff for WCW at the power plant. And he did some stuff like on Nitro and on Thunder back in the day or whatever. And he told me that one of his favorite people to work with and to wrestle was Alex Wright. Tall, blonde, German
Yeah,
guy.
Dust Wonder King.
Yeah. He loved Alex Wright. Crazy guy that trained with me, good friend of mine, loving to death. He trains under Alex Wright in Germany right now. He wrestles for his wrestling school and all kind of stuff. So my cousin kept mentioning him, and he was like, dude, if you were 6'5", you would probably look like Alex Wright. So that clicked in my brain. I was like, okay, I like the name Alex. I think that's very marketable. Cool. Now I need a last name. And we were at training the day that everybody found out that Kobe Bryant had passed away. We were in training, like we had just got done. Everybody was getting ready to go home. People's phone starts going off, ESPN, NBC, ABC, whatever, and everybody's like, "The fuck? Like, why is everybody's phones going off?" They were announcing that Kobe had passed away. Kobe's not my favorite player of all time, but I always did like Kobe Bryant, and I love that Mamba mentality. And so it was right before I was going to do my debut, and they were asking for the name, and I was like, Alex Bryant. And I was like, I'm going to use Bryant as a way to pay homage to Kobe and what he stood for and how serious he took his craft. And I'm going to apply that with what I'm doing. So that's where Alex Bryant came from.
Toddy, go ahead. I like that. That's an interesting way to put it all together. Paying homage. I mean, I think Jordan's the GOAT. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get some hate for that, but
Oh, 100, no,
yeah,
100%. I
yeah,
agree. Like, there's not even, I don't even entertain arguments anymore.
yeah. It's not even close. Like that's gonna get you hate tweets now or hate over on Instagram as well.
If they're hating me, they're leaving somebody else alone. So
Yeah.
whatever, whatever.
When you start fine tuning the monikers, right? So you, like I said, you had the Playboy, you have True Grit. how I guess what was the difference between the two, and how did you settle on True Grit? And I mean, because that I really think that moniker fits. I think with your style in the ring and how you carry yourself in all aspects, it fits. Like it really does work. So how do you drop the Playboy moniker and come over to True Grit? What's the connection on your side?
So the reason that I was the Playboy is because everybody knew about my acting and modeling background. And they made jokes about me being light skinned, talking with a country accent, being from the South. I mean, I heard all the jokes, right? Which not a big deal. I'm a freaking comedian. I love jokes and shit. I'll crack jokes all day. So it never bothered me, and it was just all in good fun. So when everybody was like, oh man, yeah, you're a pretty boy. Oh, yeah. They're throwing the dumbest, like, you guys have seen the clip of Stone Cold where he's like, they fax me over the list of the most bullshit names, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, we're on the indies. We're not that sophisticated, but they're just like spewing out these like it was like the premier model, the top ranked prospect. It was dumb shit, and I was like, absolutely the fuck not. Like, there's no way I'm doing any of that. So we were at training. The guy that I trained with, loving to death. We're talking one day, and he was like, man, you're light skinned, you talk with an accent, you're clean cut, you're in shape. Man, I bet you were a real playboy back in the day. And I said, that's it. I was like, I'm gonna be the playboy Alex Bryant. And it meshed and it flowed together. And it was easy. Light skinned dude, clean cut, small ass shorts, playboy, boom. It was minimal effort and it was the beginning. So in my mind, I knew this may not last forever. I'm probably going to have to evolve and change with the times. But this works for right now, and I know I can get it over. So that's just kind of how we rocked with it. And then I was the Playboy up until December of 2023 is the last time that I wrestled under the Playboy moniker. And the way that I made the transition is EC3 got released from WWE. Mm-hmm. So he started the Control Your Narrative movement. Mm-hmm. And, I had a guy that I'm well connected with. He got plugged in with EC3. Some other guys from the area started filtering in. I had a chance to go down and meet EC3. And anybody that's ever met him will tell you, he's a different type of cat. He really is. But he's a solid dude. And he's very fucking smart if people would just listen and get past all the other shit. So we had a couple conversations, got a chance to interact. I did some background stuff on the deal he was doing down in Florida. Fast forward a couple months, they come to North Carolina. They're doing a loop. I go do a seminar with him and then wrestled on the second day of the loop for him because he took to me so much that on the second day of the loop, they had a guy call out. I'm in the locker room. I was just going to do a battle royal because I was a fill-in guy. He comes in the locker room. He's like, you're in the fucking match. And I was like, what match? When? What am I doing? And he's like, come with us. So I'm in there with, it's me, him, Braun Strowman, and Austin Aries. And they're like, oh yeah, Alex, you're in the match. You're doing this. You're on this team. And I'm like, it's all happening very fast. I'm like, holy shit. So after that, he called me on the phone, got my number from somebody, called me directly, 6 a.m. I'm like, hello? We start talking. We start to build a friendship. We start to build this camaraderie where it's personal, but it's also professional. And he kept telling me, and he's like, dude, that Playboy shit sucks. And I was like, you think so? And he's like, yeah, dude. He's like, it's generic as fuck. And I was like, yeah, I agree. I can agree with that. And he kept saying it over and over. And he's like, dude, I just see you being, this guy and the way you walk and the way you talk and your haircut and the way you dress and how you act in the locker room. And, he's like, you have natural leadership qualities. And he's like, man, can this shit. Okay, cool. He said it. I didn't see him for a while. He gets signed to the NWA. He's doing this Exodus deal up in Cleveland.
Yep.
And in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, maybe if I get there, I can get signed to the NWA, create some recognition, and keep building. So I call up my fiance. I'm like, hey, we got to go to Cleveland. I've got to do this shit. And she's like, okay, great, cool, boom. We go up. I'm still the Playboy. He stops me after my match because what we had to do was you had this board of judges, pretty much. You had EC3, Tom Latimer, who's the current NWA world champion, Jeremiah Plunkett, who's the Midwest champion, Aaron Stevens, who used to be Damian Sandow in WWE. He's there. They're all in this line. And so we get done, and we had to do a pre-match and a post-match promo. So I did the pre-match promo. I'm the Playboy. I wrestle the match. It's like a 6-minute mini. We get out, post-match promo. I cut the promo. Nobody says anything. He looks right at me, and he's like, why the fuck are you still the Playboy? And I was like, I don't know. I kind of froze. And he was like, fuck that. I want you to cut a promo as you. Be 100% you and be fucking real. And he looks at the camera guy recording and he goes, start recording. I'm going to count him down from 3. When I get to 1, you better cut the best fucking promo of your life. Camera light comes on. He counts me down. I cut a promo it's pinned on my Instagram profile right now. Anybody can go take a look at it. I cut that promo. When it ends, you can start to hear it at the end of the video, but I clipped it. Everybody in the fucking building is going nuts. And he was like, that's why the fuck you shouldn't be the Playboy. Fast forward, we're talking. He's like, what are you calling yourself? I want you to base this character around David Goggins. I want you to be David Goggins of wrestling. And I was like, okay, cool. We're fumbling around and I'm like, he's like, you got to show grit. I'm like, that'll work. And then I was like, fuck it. Let's just be True Grit. That's where it came from. I debuted as True Grit in January of 24 and I've been True Grit ever since. And it came directly from EC3. It was his brainchild. And dude, he filtered me shit about that character for over 2 years before it ever come to fruition. That's his brainchild.
Dude's smart, man. I don't think he gets the credit that he truly deserves, to be perfectly fair. And,
100. I agree.
And truly, like, you know, Playboy worked for a hot second, but I think he's right too. Like, you got to have that change. You got to be something different than, right? And what better way to stand out?
100%.
Because you absorb that persona, just hit the fucking ground running.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Todd.
Yeah. I mean, and honestly, dude, that came directly. That literally came from him, and he just kept telling me and I would wake up to random text messages, and he'd be like, well, go watch this video, you know, go watch this blog, do this. And he just kept, you know what I mean? And like, it never made sense because, like, why do you give a fuck about a dude from a no-name town in South Carolina? Like, you're already up here, but it just shows that. And he told me that one time. Yeah, he was like, I see something there.
Yeah.
I just got to help you get it there, you know? So, yeah, major props to him because I wouldn't have made the change had he not. It's his brainchild. I'll give him all the credit in the world for that.
So just a couple of questions for you, because you did a lot on your own from what you said. Was he like that first mentor for you, or did you have others along the way? Because it sounded like you did a lot by yourself, and then he hit the scene, and that was really that mentorship that had been lacking from earlier. Or is that safe to say?
I mean, I wouldn't say it was necessarily lacking. I think it was maybe like he was the first person who I knew had made it to an elite status, who naturally showed an interest in me. Like, we had conversations, but I didn't seek him out because the type of person that I am is I don't like to create burdens for people. And at the time, he was running the CYN deal and booking tours and bringing talent. And like, that's a lot on somebody's plate. And I'm like, I was nobody to be like, hey, man, you know, let me get your number. I'm going to shoot you a text. No, I didn't do any of that. You know what I mean? I just wasn't that type of person. He took to me naturally. And we spoke about that, you know, down the road. And he just told me, he was like, there's not a lot of people that I've come across that I feel like are serious, but I feel like you are. There's not a lot of people that I've met on the indies that I feel like would take my advice and take it serious, but you have. And I appreciate that and I respect that, you know, and that's it. It was such an organic thing between he and I, and every conversation we have is very organic like that. Anytime, if we don't speak for 6-8 months at a time, when we cross paths, we pick right back up where we left off, you know, and I would address him as a shoot name and be like, I'm not asking you how the fuck EC3 is doing. I want to know how is doing. how's life, how's the family, how are your parents. Like, that's the kind of relationship we had. And then I might not see him again for 6 months, and it's cool. He's doing shit, I'm doing shit, but when we see each other, it's just very organic for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, no, those
So now,
relationships. Go ahead, Toddy.
sorry. So now you've won over everybody backstage. You've won over all of this. You put this together.
Yeah.
When did you know that you had won over the crowd?
Oh man. So the first couple times that I ever actually got to make an entrance, I started to notice that they naturally gravitated to me just a little bit. And it was kids, and then it was, teenagers, then it was the women, then some of the guys started filtering in, and it just kind of built in levels. But kids, no matter what, would always, even when I first got started, hey Alex, can we get your autograph? Hey Alex, can we get a picture? And it just started like that. And then I started realizing that I used to be that kid. And so I would pan to the kids a little more than I would anybody else. And I would always, during my entrance, go out, catch everybody's hand, do the normal white meat, baby face, Ricky Morton shit. You know what I mean? That's what I would do. And they just kept loving it. And then the first couple of years of my career, I was built as an underdog because I was, at the time, such a small dude. And everybody I fought looked like they were so much bigger than me. And I had to fight from underneath. And I feel like it just built a good story for me. But I don't know if I can pinpoint an exact moment. I think, again, it was one of those naturally organic things where I just kept fighting tooth and nail. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
Gotcha.
I think, and I mean, going back to it, going back to EC3, and what I was saying, it's the relationship that you make along the way. Those are some of the best relationships. You don't have to speak to somebody every day to be close to trust them and appreciate them for who they are. I think some of my best friends to this day, we don't talk every day, every month, or fuck, it could be 3 or 4 months, it could be 6 months, could be a year, but
Yeah.
you come right back across them. It is that instant. How's life? What's going on? And you're off to business. Now, with putting the complete package together, I wanna go to Ring Wars Carolinas because uh,
Yeah.
you hit the ground running in 2024. You started building this momentum, and it's something that if you don't see it, you don't know, but I see it just from the perspective of the social medias, and I see the bookings that come out. I'm a silent guy when I'm following
Yeah.
somebody. Like I don't need to go out there and I'm going to share your stuff because that's the easiest way to support. It's free, doesn't cost you anything. You just hit a button and it puts it out there to the people who follow you and your audience, and I'm that guy.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
start snowballing and this thing starts going with Ring Wars, and
Yeah.
you get to the Rumble and have a hell of a showing. And I think Toddy JB brought up in chat his longevity within that Rumble itself, and I think that was to get the shot at the championship. So talk to me a little bit about Ring Wars Carolinas, and is that where you cut your teeth? Is that where you were training at to begin with?
Yeah.
Okay, see,
Yep.
we never named the puppy, and I figured that's where it was at. But uh,
Yeah.
coming in, training there, and then getting to the top of the mountain, and it going through this big ass battle royal. He loves battle royals. I hate them. That's just my personal preference.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, man, so the crazy thing is like, I had almost accomplished everything in Ring Wars that I wanted to accomplish. And there was two feats that I felt like before I decide that my time there needs to be more limited and maybe I step away to pursue other things and come in and, do whatever, give these other guys a shot because guys left in order for me to get a shot. Guys stepped to the side in order to give the young guy a shot. Um, Back in 2022, I set the record for the longest time ever in a Golden Opportunity Rumble in RWC history, which still stands to this day, and it's 1 hour, 3 minutes, 11 seconds. That's how long I was in the match. I came in at number one, did not win the match. Um, and then I was in the Rumble in 23, made it to the final two, didn't win again. And for some personal and professional reasons, I decided to sit it out in 24. So I knew that sitting it out in 24, I had to build that campaign for 25. And I just was grinding, man. I was in the gym and I was doing what I had to do, and I was studying and I was traveling and I was meeting these people, and I was just trying to build the brand that is Alex Bryant. I mean, and nothing's perfect, but it's chipping away and chipping away. And I, just there were a lot of people in the early part of my career that had their doubts about what I could potentially do or who I potentially was going to become. And I'll say that the machine did not want to get behind me. There were a lot of times where I was put in a position to fail and for people to turn against me. And again, very blessed that organically people they were just drawn to me. And so they could never throw enough dirt to keep me buried. You know what I mean? And so eventually the conversation just came up, and I was like, there can be no better time like the present. Like, if we don't pull the trigger on certain things right now, there's going to be no point in pulling the trigger on them later. And, the creative heads had to get together and start rolling, and things had to change, and the plug had to be pulled on some things, and shit had to be shifted around. And, this was the first time that the heavyweight championship was on the line in the Rumble. And I was able to come in at number one, outlast 29 other guys, win it, and win the belt. So I hold the record for longest time in a Rumble. I'm the only man to ever come in at number one and win the Rumble. And I'm the only man that has ever won the heavyweight title in the Rumble. So 3 things in a row. And it took me pretty much 4.5 years to get to that point to where the powers that be said, he's our guy. You know what I mean? So it was a very bittersweet moment for me.
And look at the long term. I mean, when you go to storytelling, the long term story right there. It was the guy that chipped away, was unsuccessful for 2 years, took a break, and it's almost like he used that 2024 to rebuild himself like the fucking Terminator and come back and wreck house in 2025.
For sure.
I mean, and sometimes you have to do that, right? Like, you have to break yourself down to build yourself back up. That's both in the ring
100%.
and in personal. Like, it happens, and everybody has to do it at some point in time or another. For me, it was 10 years ago, and I was like, all right, and now I tell people all the time, I've only been an adult for a decade. I'm still trying to figure it out. You gotta
right.
let me work through this and make this happen.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, for sure.
but it's got to be such a gratifying moment in your career to stand atop of the mountain at the very place that you started. And it took work, and it took time, and it took a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. It took the energy, and sometimes dealing with bullshit politics and all the stuff that comes along that people will never fucking see. You're
Oh
there.
yeah, dude.
You're
100%.
there. And nobody can fucking take it away from you. Nobody. That's that.
No, and I think that's the thing that I think made it the most bittersweet is like, my parents have come to the majority of the Ring War shows for the better part of 5 years. My grandparents, now my niece and nephew get to come and things like that. And, so many times they had to watch me get passed over. And I had no idea, of everything that went on over here that shouldn't have ever went on, and there were not a lot of nights that I left training or I left the show or whatever, and there was a lot of areas of uncertainty where I'm driving and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what do they need to see from me? I'm out here. I'm trying to build a brand. I'm meeting these people. I'm networking. I'm flying your fucking flag from coast to coast. Like, what is it going to take for you to finally, you know what I'm saying? And it's
Yeah,
like,
no. I mean,
I watched guys get put in that position before, and I was like, like, not a knock on anybody, but the fuck makes them so much better that, you know what I mean? Like, there's no reason why that's not my spot. You know what I'm saying? So I just kept fighting, man, and that's where it came from. It all
well,
derived from like right here. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm glad you did. I'm glad you stuck your boots in the sand and pushed back. Uh, because sometimes that's what it takes to is
Yeah,
to
for sure.
really to stand up for yourself in situations like that. And I think that it's a testament. I think it's fucking fantastic that anytime I could see someone who came into a promotion through the doors, went through the system, and worked their way to the top, just get that moment. I think that's bittersweet, and it's one of those things that again it'll never be taken away from you. And your career and your trajectory, the way that you've been since 2024, man, it's only going up. You've got
Yeah,
this opportunity with Ring Wars. You are definitely working a little bit here with Exodus Pro, which has ties to the NWA. There's a path for you, and it can go in so many different ways and different directions because of how wild the wrestling scene is right now. And I say that to
yeah,
say,
for sure.
where do you see yourself? Where do you think you fit into this bigger equation that is the scene? Like, where you've accomplished now, you've gotten a heavyweight championship under your belt in with Ring Wars. There's the sky is really the limit. So where do you see yourself going, man? What's the next? Let's just break it into like 3 to 5. What's your 3 to 5 plan?
I mean, honestly, dude, I can definitely see myself getting picked up by the MWA at some time just because, I've worked for two of their official territories,
Mm-hmm.
Exodus, and I worked for NWA
Got
JCP
it.
down in Tennessee.
Yep.
And I've already been invited to come back there on two different occasions. One, I already had a previous booking, so I couldn't take that. But, already been asked to come back. And from what I was told, there was a call that came down from somewhere else that said, hey, we want to see more from him. You know what I mean? And that stands out to me because if somebody wants to see more of me, in my mind, that means like, okay, there's some shit on the horizon.
Absolutely.
So I can definitely see that. I've had some talks with my fiance about this, once we get through the wedding and everything. And I know a guy that was just on WWE's LFG reality show. I met him when I was out in California. Chris Island, super nice guy, very in shape, college wrestler, just a dope dude. You know what I mean? And I saw him go through it, and I saw a lot of clips. And I told my fiance, I was like, I don't have anything to lose if I go try out and they tell me no. I already don't fucking work there, so who cares? But if I get there and I try it out and my name's kind of in that system, maybe somebody in the room is going, well, he might not make it today, but I'm going to keep an eye on what he's doing. I'm going to see if he's still on the Instagram putting out his workout videos. I'm going to see if he's still taking those indie bookings and is he traveling? Has he went international yet? But just to get that name and face recognition in that system so that maybe one day somebody will reach in and pull out that name and say, hey, call that dude. You know what I mean? And then if I do get a chance to get picked up for the show, even if I only make it a couple weeks, dude, that's a ridiculous amount of fucking marketing right there for people to say, hey, I know that dude. You know what I mean? Like, hey, dude, weren't you on LFG for a couple weeks? Yes, I was. Oh, man, we want to bring you in. Now my bookings are going up.
Rates just went
So,
up.
yeah, her and I talked about it, and she was like, if after all is said and done with the wedding and stuff, if you want to go try it, I'll go out with you. You've got my full support. So, I'm probably going to try out for that. And then I'm just going to keep grinding, man, because I'm a firm believer that the universe will reward you and that the universe will give you shit when it is your time to have it. And, I don't do people dirty. I'm not using underhanded tactics. I'm not trying to hurt guys. I'm not trying to, be a guy that pushes and is pushy about money and stuff. I'm very easy to work with. I negotiate. I try to be a good locker room person and build a brand for myself and build a name for myself. And I'm hoping that type of good juju just continues to push me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We have a question from CCP podcasting family member UK Paul. He says, are there any match types that you love to do and any you absolutely will not do?
So I would say that I'm not doing any type of death matches and supremely hardcore matches because the pay rates on the indies do not match up with the shit that they want to see. Now, if I was in AEW, Ring of Honor, maybe GCW, and I was making thousands upon thousands of dollars, yeah, I'd probably do it then. But on the indies, no, man. Give me a good singles. Give me a nice tag. Give me a 6-man tag. I've been in a couple cage matches. They're not terrible. I've been in some no holds barred matches. They're not terrible. But I mean, dude, I'm old school. Let me go 1-on-1 with whoever your best guy is. Let me wrestle my way. Let him wrestle his way, and then give us 10 to 12 minutes, and we come back through that curtain. Let me know what you think. Do you want to book Alex Bryant again, or you don't? I mean, that's what I prefer, because I'm old school with it.
I freaking love your mentality and how you put yourself out there like that, dude. It is refreshing to see. It's really the epitome of fate is there. I'm gonna do my part, and we're gonna see what happens with it.
Yeah,
I wish you luck with heading out to possibly try out for anything. I think anybody would be lucky to have you, to be fair. But that's just
I
my
appreciate that.
personal bias, I guess, because I know good fucking wrestling. I watch so much of it.
Right? Yeah.
I'm telling you, dude, we watch stuff everywhere. We started in Australia and then worked our way over to the States because everybody that, I always go back to something that Eric Bischoff said. You could be different than, or you could be the same as. What is different than what everyone else is doing? Well, everyone else is covering the States. Well, I found out that if you covered overseas, they got fucking ridiculously like hype about it and start promoting your shit like because you're watching them. And then we worked our way back over here. When I say we watch 20 hours of indies on this channel a week, bro, we watch 20 hours at least from all parts of the globe. Anybody in
Well, I know
anywhere
you
with
mentioned that you said you like good wrestling. If you get a chance, there's a matchup on my YouTube page from when I wrestled at NWA JCP a couple months ago. I wrestled a guy by the name of Wayne Moxley. He's an NWA JCP original guy. They brought me in to work him. Very proud of that match. Got some very good feedback from Joe Kazana, who's the owner, and got some very good feedback from some of the vets in the locker room, and got some good feedback from Dr. Tom Pritchard. So if you guys get a chance to watch that one, take a look at it for me, and then let me know what you think.
Oh, say less, brother. I think I watched one of yours against one half of the Country Gentlemen last Sunday.
Oh, KC, yeah,
On our
KC
Wrestling
Kazana, yeah.
Live show. Yeah, that one was a good one too. I like that finish. It just came out of nowhere. It was good stuff. Let me ask you this, and I think with you it's a little bit more interesting because I found out, literally through DMs and a little bit of conversation here and conversations there over the last week or so. You're juggling an awful lot, and something that a lot of people won't ever fucking see is,
Ooh,
the balance that is, wrestling plus
yeah.
preparing for a wedding plus on top, personal life, the job, the
Mm,
all the everything that comes along with day-to-day life, and then you have, oh yeah, you've got professional wrestling, which is a lot of time in its own right. What's that balance like for you, man? And how do you fucking find it? Because it just seems like there's a lot happening.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, honestly, dude, it's just like I made a promise to my fiance when we first got together. Like, of course, I was already wrestling and doing my thing and traveling and stuff, but I made a promise to her that I would never let wrestling cause a rift in our relationship, and I've always kept my word about that. If I have somebody reach out to me about doing a booking, I double check with her. Hey, babe, just in case I forgot, did I agree to do anything on this day? No, that's yeah, okay. This is where I want to go. They're going to pay me X amount. This is what I'm doing. Is that okay? And we always have those discussions, and we always have since day one, and she's traveled with me to plenty of shows, and she's come up to Ring Wars and seen me wrestle and things like that. And she could give a shit less, but she knows I love it. And so she supports me. So I have a really good home life because we're very close and we have such a good communication level. And my stepdaughter is a little older, so she's a little self-sufficient if we need to go out of town for a couple of days and for me to go down to Florida or Tennessee, wherever to wrestle. She's good for the weekend for herself. And we work the type of jobs where we have a little bit more of an open schedule. But dude, 90% of the time I'm working. Even when I'm at a show, if I'm on my phone, people think I'm scrolling social media. I may be talking about a deal or something, or I've pulled up at an arena and had to sit in my truck for 45 minutes on a work call before I ever go in. And now I got to shift gears and now I'm wrestling, so I try to get up every morning and start my day by checking emails, returning calls, doing whatever I have to do, making sure I'm negotiating things, eat, get ready to walk out of the door to the gym, and then even while I'm at the gym, I got my headphones in. I'm taking work calls, or my fiance and I own a spa. I'm taking calls about that. It might be maintenance. It might be somebody hasn't paid their booth rent, whatever it is. And I'm trying to balance all that. And I've become very good at being able to designate time for the things that I need to do. And also planning out my travel around family events and different things like that, because I don't want to cause a rift and I don't want to not be able to see my niece and nephew grow up and spend time with my grandparents and stuff like that. But they know what I'm doing too, and everybody's supportive. And I think that's probably what makes it a lot easier is they support me, and I know that. So if I'm absent, they understand why.
I think they see too. I think what anyone out there who watches you sees. I mean, it's the same. We see the same thing EC3 sees. This is, and your family sees the same thing as well. I see a guy here who's going to dominate the industry. That's what I see. I just see that the opportunity needs to present itself. And when it does, you're going to take full advantage of it. Because the one thing I've gathered out of this entire conversation thus far that I didn't know coming in is just how driven you are to be successful and how driven
Oh,
you are
100%.
to get to wherever the fuck you're wanting to get to. And I don't think anything or anyone is going to stop you. Even if it's not a contract right this second, it's not going to stop you from making the towns. It's not going to stop you from going out there and proving anyone that says otherwise that you're not one of the best on the scene right now. Because I think you are. I've put you up there with several people internationally right now. And you mentioned something earlier, and then Toddy, I'm gonna come around to you about international and getting international or what have you. If you had an option or you had a choice, where would you like to see yourself with international travels?
Honestly, man, I want to go to Puerto Rico really bad, and I
Okay.
want to perform in one of those crowds. I want to. I would love to go to the UK, and I would love to go to Japan, and then I think I would kind of like to go see how my style clashes a little bit in Mexico. So really anywhere, man. Like if I had the chance to go and work different styles and do different things, I definitely would, because I feel like that's the only way that I'm going to grow is to be around different types of wrestlers and competitors and be in a position to where, they do challenge me and I have to go back to the drawing board and be like, all right, I need to be more prepared for that next time. You know what I'm saying? So really, dude, anywhere that I can go that to make it work, I would love to get the chance to go over there and establish who I am. You know what I mean?
Facts, facts. We had a mutual friend of ours pop in chat. You may know him as that wrestling dude. He says the light skinned legend.
Oh man. Yeah. Yeah. Those are my guys, man. I love those guys. I've done a couple interviews with them, man, and they've put out a lot of content for me that I didn't have to do anything on. They put it out, and I was like, dude, that's fucking awesome. Like,
Man,
thank y'all, because again, they're just dope ass dudes on a dope ass
yep,
platform. You know what I mean?
yep. And apparently August Artichoke said stop writing your wife notes. I wasn't gonna call you out on that, but
This mother.
apparently
Yeah.
I wasn't
This
gonna call you
motherfucker.
out. But
Yeah, he knows. He knows. He knows the tricks.
Toddy, go ahead, bud.
So one of the things I definitely want to say to you, I am a paralegal for the Army by trade. So, someone that has the mental faculties that you have, I think that that also sets you apart. Everybody knows that you're good in the ring. You can do what you do physically. You have that athletics. But to have the mental capacity that you have, I think that that makes you dangerous. And it makes you dangerous in a good way to where you are going to dominate. Just like everybody says that you're going to dominate because you already have this balancing act. You have a great support system, you have everything falling into place to where you can just continue to go and go and go and excel. And I think that's very admirable for you. And I know that by this time next year, I'm going to be looking back saying, I know that guy. I remember talking to him. And here we were, but I just wanted to put that out there because a lot of people forget about that. Anybody can be gifted in wrestling. Anybody can go in there, they can train, they can do what they're supposed to do in the ring. But having that other side to you is what sets you apart from everybody else. It makes you different, and you're not afraid to switch it up to do the things that you need to do, and that's why everybody sees what they see when they look at you. So I just want to commend you and say thank you for that, and I can't wait to see where you are this time next year.
I really appreciate that. I just try to be very open minded and be receptive of things, and I try to make sure that I carry the type of vibe and energy that people want to be around because there's a lot of fucking douchebags in this industry. Like I'm not talking about guys with a gimmick where they have to be an asshole and stuff like that's great. You know what I mean? But I hate fake ass fucking people. You know what I mean? Just be you, dude. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's just who I am. Like everything that I've done in my career, any accomplishment that I have made, I did it my way. Even if somebody was over here screaming, no, go that way, do this. Fuck you. This is my life. This is what I'm trying to do. Like, I'm the one putting miles on my body and taking these bumps. I'm the one that's in the gym busting my ass. Not saying other people aren't. I'm speaking for me. So I'm going to do this shit my way because there's no roadmap to success in professional wrestling. If you ask 10 guys, you're going to get 10 different answers.
Mm-hmm.
I've just tried to show up, do my job, safely do my job, and go home the same way I showed up and make sure that I can put some more asses in some seats somewhere else that I'm booked at. Or for somebody to see another promoter and say, hey, I used that guy a couple months ago. He's a nice guy. He's easy to work with. He's friendly. Locker room guys like him. He put on a good match. You should book him. You know what I mean? And I'm sure there's some promoters out there that are like, oh, God, we're not booking Alex Bryant. Well, don't. I don't give a fuck because somebody else will. You know what I'm saying? And that's the type of attitude and temperament that I've always tried to carry myself with because, people listen to me talk and they're like, oh, he's just some country boy from the, backwoods. He's probably dumb. No. I'm actually very well educated and I read rooms very well. So I know when some of y'all actually fuck with me and when the rest of y'all don't. And that's fine. I'm cool with it. So thank you again for the kind words. I appreciate it.
I'm gonna start winding things down here, and these are two of my
Okay.
favorite questions to end things on. And to first of all, before I ask them, let me just preface for those
Okay.
watching live, if you're watching replays on YouTube, if you're seeing this on social media, this has been an organic conversation since we hit fucking record. He has no idea that these two questions are coming, so don't be that guy or that girl. If you don't get mentioned, just don't do it. And I'm gonna tell you. I'm going to tell you
Yeah.
why I asked the first question once I get the answer.
Okay.
So, realistically, it's simple. Who should I be watching? And what I mean by that, to broaden that up, is on the independent scene, you're traveling. And it
Yeah.
is such a wide thing, independent wrestling at this point in time. There's so much out
Yeah.
there, can't cover it all. Give me some people, in your opinion, that we should be watching on our channel.
XLG, Jim Stone, and G Money. I would say they're probably one of the most dominant tag teams in the Mid Atlantic area right now. Those are my guys. Love them to death. Both big dudes, strong, super athletic. Very good tag team. They work a old school style. They've traveled internationally. Definitely keep an eye on them. I don't even think I should mention this dude because he tells everybody what he's doing, but August Artois, because that's my dog. You know what I mean? So watch his shit. Dante Smiley, he's from out in Texas, OIWA World Heavyweight Champion. Solid dude, probably one of the most in shape, physical fucking specimens that I've ever been around. And just a solid fucking dude at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So definitely keep an eye on him. There's a kid by the name of Jake Parker. He lives in South Carolina, mostly wrestles in North Carolina. I wrestled him a couple weeks ago. Dude is an animal. I mean, naturally strong. He's got this mercenary style gimmick. Very good in the ring, very aggressive. I would say keep an eye on him. For females, Amanda Kiss is very good. She's very active. She's everywhere. She's about to go to Japan. She's a good friend of mine. Been friends with her for years. We've traveled to shows and stuff together. She's very good. Oh man, I feel like I'm leaving somebody out here, and I do not want anybody to call me tomorrow and be like, "Hey, motherfucker," you know what I'm saying? There's
Well, I
so
prefaced it,
many.
and my social
Yeah,
media is there on the screen. I am a DMOA, guys. I promise, and I do get back.
yeah, definitely. And I think he's on the way back to the circuit because he took some time off for personal and professional reasons. But if the Caribbean Tiger comes back, keep a lookout. He's a 16-year vet. He's one of the best guys I've ever been in the ring with, hands down.
Okay.
Keep an eye on Caribbean Tiger. Blade Brown is a good guy. He's an animal, young guy, already has a lot of success on the circuit. That's one of my boys. Definitely keep an eye on him. And yeah, man, I mean, I think that's
Is
Xander Keys. He does this Arabian gimmick where he's from Dubai, I think. I think it is. Yeah, it's Dubai. Yeah, we've wrestled a couple times. It's up on YouTube. Good dude, strong as a fucking bull, and a heat-seeking missile as a heel. So yeah, those are the people I would say keep an eye on, and yeah,
is
that's what I got for that.
is Blade Brown? Did he have a shoulder injury? Is he recovering from an
Yeah,
injury?
he tore a pec.
Okay.
Yeah, he tore
Yeah.
a pec.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's. I think he's in the stages where he's about to make his return. So yeah, and another just a solid dude. Yeah,
Yeah. He's been on my list. I've been watching his recovery and been like positive
yeah,
vibes, throwing some shit out there for him, like positive vibes, bro. Like we're can't wait for you to get back. I
100%,
ask you that
man.
question because again, the the depth of independent wrestling worldwide is unreal, and like
Yeah,
you're in the ring with a lot of these guys. I ask you that because that's how our platform evolves. Before I
true.
was
Yeah,
going out and just finding random independent guys to watch their stuff, and as
yeah,
we have shot 62 episodes of this show, as of this show, we're on 62.
yeah,
That's how we've progressed is I've taken you guys' recommendations because again, who we should be fucking watching. And why wouldn't we take your word and why wouldn't we go out of our way if we are thriving on indies and shining our light on those hidden gems that we may not see? That's exactly how
yeah,
we grow. And I ask you all that question to get to what I really call my $1 million question. And this is the meat and potatoes. This is definitely a clipped fucking answer. Um, because I'm manifesting. This is where we start to manifest. Outside of
yeah.
Shelton Benjamin, because he's the fucking goat. Who do you want to get in the ring with? Who are some of your personal dream matches? And I'm not gonna say outside Benjamin, because Benjamin is the fucking goat.
He's probably. Oh man, what is going on here? Hold on one second. I'm sorry. I
No,
don't know why that just.
no, you're fine.
Somebody's calling me from work. It's see what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Somebody calling me from work. I would say Shelton Benjamin definitely, and it's just because he's from my home state. He was one of the first guys that I was ever like, holy shit, I can do that, and I'm from South Carolina. Just an awesome dude, And I just think that he's probably one of the most underrated of all time. I would love to get a chance to share the ring with him. I would say AJ Styles because I've been a fan of AJ for 20 years. I'd love to get in the ring with August Artois. I'd love to get in the ring with the Psycho Boy Fodder. EC3 for sure. Tom Latimer from NWA.
Mm-hmm.
Crick Williams. And Frankie Kazarian. I think would be awesome to be in the ring with. And then, even though he's retired now, but I'd love to wrestle Christopher Daniels. I think that'd be awesome. And then there was one more person. I was just talking to somebody about this the other day. I think those are probably the ones right now that stick out to me the most where I would love to just be able to cross paths. Oh, I would love to wrestle LeBron Cozone, who is
Oh,
the proprietor of Firestar Pro Wrestling and trained Javon Evans and trained Jackson Drake and Marcus Cross. Would love to be in the ring with LeBron Cozone for sure. Oh, and Titus Alexander, who
oh,
wrestles for DPW.
phenomenal.
Yeah, so I wrestled for his dad's promotion in Cali last year. And his dad literally told me, I want to bring you back out here so you can wrestle Titus. And I was like, you let me fucking know when. So,
Bet.
yeah.
So, yeah, take my fucking money. That's what I say to that one all day, every
That's
day.
what I'm saying. Yeah,
I mean,
for
dude,
sure.
if that one can happen, I told you, we put our money back into the indies. We don't keep a penny of anything we make. We will fucking sponsor that to get you out there if that can fucking happen. We will make that happen. I need to see it.
That'd be fucking sweet. Yeah, that'd be awesome. I'd love to
I'm
do that.
telling you. Toddy, you said something earlier. You said, you're really looking forward to seeing where you're going to see Mr. Bryant over the next year. And I have a very bold prediction. And while this may be a replica, where I see him in the next year, maybe winning the real one of these because the
Fucking
NWA
wish.
the NWA is calling amongst other places for you, sir, and I could not be happier. I know I was fidgeting and reaching over, but I was trying to get that without knocking the camera over. I
I appreciate that, man.
I appreciate you taking the time and coming in and sitting down with us and really, having this conversation. We never know where they're going to go when we sit down and have them. And I
Right.
think that's the beautiful thing about what we do is we don't ever want to sound like fucking robots and the same bullshit questions.
Generic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would rather just keep it authentic and roll with it and see what happens. And in this case, I know we
Best
just
recipe, man.
that's the way I was in the ring, man. Like I could never script a match out. Like that was never one of my things. I
Oh
had to
man.
listen to the crowd and I listened to the audience and even our audience here. We listen to them and what they want to see
Yeah.
and get all the views and opinions. But if for this case, man, I cannot be thankful enough that we got to spend a little bit of time together. And I hope that while again we just scratched the surface of your career and things that you've been able to accomplish in this period of time. My door and
Yeah.
our door is always open, and would love to have you back on if you want to come back and chat with us and do a follow-up episode down the line.
Yeah, man. It's you guys are kind of watching the transgression because I'm gonna be True Grit for a while, man. But somebody called me the natural born thriller one day. And I was like, I like that shit. So it's kind of like I'm in that happy medium place where like, yeah, I'm still True Grit, but it's like I'm the natural born thriller. And that's kind of how I'm trying to, cause I just want people when they see my name on a card or they see me in a locker room, I want them to be like, that is one more intense motherfucker. Like when he laces up those boots, it is fucking go time. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's what I want people to see from me. You know what I mean? So thank you. Appreciate it. I've enjoyed this thoroughly. You guys have been nothing but nice. Appreciate the compliments, and thank you for having me on this platform because it's fucking dope and I love doing dope shit.
Well, what would you like to say to our audience and before we get ready to tie a bow on things?
Honestly, man, like to anybody out there that has ever bought a ticket to see me wrestle, thank you. If you cheered me, thank you. If you booed me, even fucking better because you made the people that were cheering cheer louder. So thank you. If you ever come see me at a show, I promise I'll give you your money's worth, no matter what I'm doing, win, lose, or draw. I promise you will get the absolute fucking best of Alex Bryant from bell to bell. So thank y'all for tuning in to hear a kid from a small two red light town tell you about his dream. I much appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing all of your faces wherever I go in this world. Thank you.
We have one last minute little, not necessarily a question, but someone is curious
Okay.
about the Blue Jackets baseball. The baseball.
Somebody's curious about the Blue Jackets baseball.
Yes.
Really, of all
Yeah.
the things.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so
He's not really.
that is
Legit says it's not really a question. He just really likes the logo. I don't.
so. you remember at the beginning of this conversation, I told you guys that I'm from a really fucking small town.
Yeah.
About 45 minutes inland. So my hometown is Ainer, South Carolina, home of the Battling Blue Jacket.
Okay.
So this hoodie, believe it or not, is probably about 16 years old. And I got it early years playing baseball. Somehow still fits because they ordered everything big back in the day. But yeah, that's my hometown, man. So and they just made it to the lower state finals, and they lost. So they're going to try it again next year. But they've won 2 state titles over the past, I think, 5 years in baseball. Football teams, okay. My brother owns a couple records for the football team. As a matter of fact, he owns the record for most consecutive starts on varsity, and I had the record for most tackles in a game, and he beat my record by 3. So he's an asshole. But yeah, so you can look it up, man. Ainer, South Carolina, home of the Battling Blue Jackets. I'm sure you guys can find some old ass pictures of skinny ass Alex Bryant on the wrestling team and on the baseball team and shit. And I'm hometown proud because our school moniker was once a Blue Jacket, always a Blue Jacket. So no matter where Alex Bryant goes in the world, I'm still just a Blue Jacket from Ainer, South Carolina.
I fucking love it, man. Listen, this has been fantastic. Toddy, what would you like to say before we get ready to close it out?
Again, thank you, Mr. Alex Bryant. We enjoyed having you here. To everybody that's been here, I say it each and every time we're together. I appreciate you being here with us, fellowshipping with us, sharing your passion with us, and allowing us to share our passion with you. The fellowship is tremendous. I love each and every one of your faces, and I can't wait to see you again.
And I will leave you all with
Perfect.
this, folks. This has been fun. The easiest way, and we say this all the time, that you can support independent wrestling and independent wrestlers is go by going out to social media and liking or following and sharing where possible. It's because it's free, cost you nothing. In Mr. Bryant's case, he keeps it simple on Instagram and over on X. It's real_Alex Bryant. It's been on the screen the entire show. If you have made it this far and you have joined us for this entire stream and you've enjoyed the stream and you have not already went over and followed Mr. Bryant, we are going to have some problems. And if you're watching over on replay, you need to go down below and you need to click the links and do the things so you can support all things Mr. Bryant. Because without him out there crushing it, we wouldn't have anything to watch. And without the feds that he's attached to, the companies that bring him in to do work, we wouldn't have anything to watch. You got to go out and support them both. It's the easiest way to do it. It doesn't cost you a fucking penny, and it takes less than 14 ounces of pressure to hit a button. 4,
Boom.
True Grit, Mr. Alex Bryant. 4, the light-skinned legend, Mr. Alex Bryant. And for Todrick Tavar Ramsey, I am Chris Page. We will see you next time.